Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Gramolia, the Woodland Pond President and CEO, and this is my Tuesday update for actually April. We're going to start them up again. After I had decided to sort of sunset them for March, I got quite a bit of feedback from folks that do really appreciate the updates. So, of course, this is something that if you want to, consume the information, you can find it online, and you'll be able to get that on our, either on channel 1340 when we air them on Tuesdays multiple times, or you can always get them on our YouTube channel. So I actually do have quite a bit to share today. So first and foremost, of course, you can see that although it's evident that I'm working from home today, I am well along the recovery from my surgery. I actually have my appointment tomorrow to hopefully get clearance, and then I'll be back in the office starting Wednesday, if everything goes as planned. So thank you so much to everyone that has reached out and shared your well wishes. Will be some ups and downs as I, kind of learn to live without a thyroid and such, but everything went as well as it could have. And I really appreciate everyone on my team doing everything to step in and support the community and all of the resident support. So I have quite a few things to go through on my list today, and I'm going to go through them sort of in no particular order, but there is quite a bit of important information here. So you may need to watch twice or rewind and listen to another section again. So first and foremost, I'd like to address the fire alarm that activated on Saturday night. First, thanking, of course, Tom Tango for coming in. This is the kind of thing that, he always typically does that if the alarm goes off. And the way the process works is that we have obviously a fully articulated fire alarm system, which means that any smoke head that detects the heat or smoke sends a message to our fire alarm panel letting us know where the disturbance is. And that's very helpful for us. So that night, the panel indicated that there was smoke in the independent living public restrooms. So our staff responded, the fire department responded as quickly as they could. And of course, this is just a reminder that the New Paltz Fire Department is a fully volunteer fire department. So they don't, have paid members. They all have to, of course, assimilate. So they get there as quickly as they can. And then they look to find the source of the activation. So in this case on Saturday, they didn't find anything. And so when that happens, the alarm system typically goes off for an extended period of time because they can't clear it unless they can definitively determine that there's not a problem. So it's actually sometimes that when there isn't an immediate obvious cause of the alarm, sometimes it can go off longer than usual. Now, we had instituted a system several years ago of notification for the residents, and that system failed on Saturday. There's a training issue on our side. We have some new staff, weren't quite sure of the protocols. So you did not get to the notifications about what the panel was going off for, the fire alarm. And for that, we are very sorry. And we know how disruptive it is. It's extremely loud, very disruptive. We all convened first thing Sunday morning to talk about what training needs to happen, how we can avoid this going forward, and what the protocols need to be. So if you have further questions on the fire alarm system or the panel, you can always send me an email, or you can hang on to those questions until our next management Q&A. You can stop by and leave a message with concierge or call my desk, and we will give you the information that you want. So that's where we are with the fire alarm from Saturday night. The next thing is just a reminder that due to a number of concerns, we have increased the special event trip fee on the bus from $3 to $7. The $3 fee that was in effect prior hasn't been changed since we've opened. And certainly, of course, costs, especially of fuel, have gone up significantly in the last 12 years. So this is a change that probably should have happened a long time ago. This does not apply to medical appointments and such, but for those special events where someone is going to the theater or there's a special event or trip scheduled, that fee has gone from $3 to $7. A couple of questions about the sustainability coordinator position that I announced before my surgery. Um, I guess there have been a few people that have asked questions that I know that we've answered in certain meetings, but I'll just take the moment to answer it again. So the sustainability coordinator, as we have designed it, will be a position that focuses all of the existing efforts and adds new efforts towards creating the most sustainable operating environment for Woodland Pond. Certainly a win for the environment. But just as important, this person has a substantial role in reducing our costs of consumption and accessing grant funds that are available to Woodland Pond. So this position with the right candidate will not only pay for itself, but will actually recoup expenses that right now are sitting out there and sort of excessive. So this is a substantial win-win. Sort of any way you look at it, as long as we get the right candidate. We have cast a wide net. I'm looking for a very specific candidate, must have grant writing experience, must have sustainability efforts experience and or related college degrees. So I'm not in a hurry to fill the position because I really need to find somebody that combines both of those talents. But I'd like to have everybody just be rest assured that this is not a position that in any way is going to add costs to Woodland Pond. As a matter of fact, it's intended to, and typically has in other models, reduced costs substantially to the organization. So that again will be a win-win. We have some baby fever going on at Woodland Pond. As many of you probably know, we've got a number of folks that are expecting little ones in the next couple of weeks, but most specifically for those that most of you will recognize because they have roles that span a good amount of the community. Jason Irish is expecting a little bundle. And Carrie Burns, who is Rob Dunn's right-hand woman, is also expecting right around the same time, so in the next couple of weeks. And then Sarah Leonard will be going out on maternity sometime in May is the plan. So, sometimes babies come whenever they're going to come. But behind the scenes, we've been making lots of plans to make sure that those workloads are covered. And you might see some different faces covering things that you normally would go to Jason or Carrie or Sarah for. But of course, we wish everybody the best of luck. And we're very excited for the growing families. Let's see. Okay. Next, the social work and mental health support services survey. So as of last Wednesday, which was the original due date, we had received approximately 130 or 140 responses out of a possible 350. So I wasn't really satisfied with that. So we did extend I'm sorry, I have itchiest nose. We did extend the deadline on that. And so we have asked everyone to please return those surveys. I think we extended it until today or maybe potentially Wednesday. But for everyone that we didn't get a survey on, we put a second request in your mail cubby. So please do complete those surveys. It's very important that we have this feedback because unlike the sustainability coordinator position, if we do pursue some sort of additional social work, mental health support on campus, chances are there will be a cost impact. That's more fully explained in the survey, but we really need to understand where the residents are on this as a whole and understand if we have, a small group of residents that are looking for this service or if it's much more widespread. So please do complete those surveys and we will get the tallies together and the results out as soon as we can. Let's see. Okay. You may have seen the news that a New York State safe staffing minimum requirement for nursing home care that had been enacted last year, but placed into a pause. Actually, the moratorium or the pause was not extended as of April 1st. So effective immediately on April 1st, all nursing homes, so for Woodland Pond, this would just be applicable to skilled nursing. All New York State nursing homes must meet prescribed minimum safe staffing standards as determined by the New York State Legislature. So how does Woodland Pond stack up, and what does it mean if a facility does not comply? The latest research within the industry tells us that due to staffing shortages and an outmigration of nursing staff following COVID, that it is anticipated by the advocacy organizations that 80% of New York State nursing homes will not be able to comply with this mandate. So they're anticipating that best case scenario, 20% of facilities will be able to comply with this. Facilities that do not comply are facing up to $2,000 per day fines for every day that they don't meet the minimum staffing requirements. So I had issued an update to everyone, I don't know, let's say about 6 months ago, letting everyone know where Woodland Pond stacked up. And I wanted to update that for you. So the minimum requirement for safe staffing applies to hands-on, hourly, and wage earning nursing staff in terms of CNAs, so certified nursing assistants, LPNs, licensed practical nurses, and RNs, registered nurses. This does not count administrative nursing staff. So folks that are, let's say, the director of nursing, the staff educator nurse, Mary Jo, the wellness RN, Angel Murphy, another wellness RN, none of the administrative staff count. So in our system, the nurses that work on the floor in skilled nursing are coded to certain timekeeping departments. So they, clock in for the day, and we know that they're here working on skilled nursing or in assisted living or whatever the case may be. So we are able to measure exactly how much direct care staff we have. For the last pay period, the numbers are as follows. So the mandate requires that we have 2.2 hours of CNA, certified nursing assistant time, per resident per day, every day. So 2.2 hours CNA hours are required. The last payroll, Woodland Pond had 2.52. And that's typically where we run. So we're not only meeting, but we're exceeding that minimum. For nurses, so LPNs and RNs, the requirement is between 1.1 and 1.3 hours per resident per day in skilled nursing. So 1.3 hours required. Woodland Pond was at 2.4 hours total. So the minimum safe staffing requirement in total is 3.5 hours per resident per day, meaning that we are staffing to where we have 3.5 hours of direct care nursing staff assigned to each resident each day. So 3.5 hours is required. And our last payroll, which is indicative of a typical payroll for us, we were at 4.91 hours per resident per day. So quite a factor of not only meeting, but nicely exceeding those minimums. And this is juxtaposed again to 80% of the industry in New York that the experts think are not going to be able to meet this requirement. So Woodland Pond is well suited, despite having, vacancies, certainly. Our staff are picking up shifts. We are able to cover positions with excellent staffing ratios. So not only do we meet and exceed the minimums required in New York now, but we certainly also meet industry averages and such. So I will be issuing an updated memo related to that at some point this week, but I wanted to update you because I figured people would have a lot of questions about that, seeing that in the news. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to just touch on quickly is, we've been discussing the fact that we're going to be looking at not only adding 6 cottages here on campus on available lands, but also that we need to consider an overhaul of the campus in terms of furniture, finishes, design, layout. The community is starting to show its age, and we're at a point where we have to look at what is the next step. So we need to work with professionals to understand, where do we potentially need to move walls? What do we need to be considering for the future? How do we expand our mission? What can we do within the constraints of our land? What opportunities do we have beyond our four walls? And there are professional firms that do just that work uh, across the country. They're called senior living developers, and we have hired a developer from Texas. They're the top in the nation, to come to Woodland Pond and to work with us on a phased feasibility study to understand what are our needs. And some of it is interior design, but much of it is not. A lot of it is programmatic needs, needs for, you know, things, for example, like enhanced wellness space. What is the market going to be demanding of us as we move forward? And what are our options in terms of meeting those needs? So this Friday, the development team is coming in from Texas, and among other things, they are going to be having lunch with 5 or 6 residents and staff members to talk about, you know, some of the things that maybe residents might be interested in seeing, questions the residents might have, and so forth. So I had asked for anybody that's interested in participating in that luncheon to leave your name with concierge. We've got more than a dozen people that have expressed an interest, and we can only take about 5 or 6 for this particular activity. And so we're going to be looking at the list, and we want to get a nice mix of male and female perspectives, residents that have been here for a long time, residents that are newly here, folks that are on committees or the council, folks that are not on any council committees. We really have to get a wide representation. So I will be letting those that we've selected know tomorrow, and then that luncheon will be Friday afternoon. If you are not selected, keep your eye out for future opportunities. Certainly, we're going to be doing tons of surveys, lots of questionnaires. There's going to be lots of ways for residents to give feedback. And if we do ultimately proceed with some sort of a campus redesign or a master plan, then obviously there will be tons of focus groups and all kinds of things. So this is just sort of a first dabble into that endeavor. So thank you so much for all of your interest. I think that's all I wanted to cover for, oh no, one more thing related to the 6 cottage expansion on campus. There is the next step in that process as we continue our due diligence, is there is a Village of New Paltz Planning Board meeting tomorrow on Zoom at 7 o'clock. You can tune into that. If you just Google Village of New Paltz Planning Board April 5th meeting, you can get the Zoom link to the agenda, and you can join that meeting if you're interested in what they might ask of us. We are first on the agenda in terms of projects tomorrow. That meeting starts at 7 o'clock. So it's great to be back-ish, and I hope to see everybody starting in the office again on Wednesday. I hope you've all been well, and I will see you soon.